As if our world couldn't throw any stranger things at us, it smacks us upside the head with a fish. I don't know about you, but weird things falling from the sky is a thing of nightmares, and it actually happens in some places. From raining snakes to raining blood, here are 15 unbelievable things that fell from the sky. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to The Supreme, and click the notification bell for more lit content. Let's get rolling. Number 15. Fish rain, Thailand. This won't be the first time we've heard of something crazy falling from the sky, and it also won't be the last. Raining aquatic life has been recorded throughout the ages, though the explanation is somewhat new. What was once thought to be a malfunctioning God mechanism that helped deliver manna to the Israelites, I'm serious, has been proven to be yet another magic trick of Mother Nature. Whirlwinds, which are prevalent in Thailand, sweep over land and sea. If the winds reach a shallow body of water, it's strong enough to suck everything up, including the fish. As the winds die down, the fish start to drop with the rain. If you know how rain forms, this can indeed be labeled raining fish. In 2012, the country had another similar incident, only instead it rained prawns. The best part of it all was that the fish was still edible. All you did was wait outside with a bucket of water and catch as many as your heart desired. Raining small fish and prawns is one thing, but catfish? That's right, catfish were found falling from the air when there was no storm. Could it be the God machine this time? Nope, turns out to be human error. A freight truck that was delivering a load of freshly caught catfish was hauling tail up a curving mountain road. When they rounded a curve, the fish came busting out of the truck and rained down on the traffic below. Number 14. Raining blood, Spain. From the apocalypse to demons, there are many tales of blood falling from the sky. Is it some religious reckoning that has fallen upon us, a sign of the end of times? What is once the magic of yesterday is the science of today. And the blood rain proves to be no different. The short answer? Yes, it rains blood red in certain countries. No, it's not real blood. In areas particularly rich with red dust, the rain mixes with the dust, creating the novel blood red appearance. Just because it's not blood doesn't make it any less freakish. Just take a look at how similar the coloring is in some of this footage. It's enough to make me cringe. What's more interesting is the red dust can be picked up in one place and carried off thousands of miles. That means there's potential for the blood rain to occur anywhere in the world, especially when considering how different climates are today than even a decade ago. Number 13. Russian gold. Now here's one that I wish I was there for. Can we make this one happen again, please? I promise I'll be prepared this time. I'm not talking about little gold coins, I'm talking bricks. Look at the size of these things. Luckily, no one was hurt. It'd be a shame to be killed by a brick of gold. That'd be irony at its finest. The plane was so densely packed with the gold that the cargo bay hatch failed to hold during takeoff. The doors burst open, spraying tons of gold over the runway and surrounding areas. I'm speaking about a literal 3 tons of gold that was scattered across the Russian landscape. I don't know about you, but I'd be digging through the snow hands and feet trying to find that gold. Then all I'd have to worry about is the Russian mob. Actually, on second thought, let me just put this back. Number 12. Frozen iguanas, Florida. When I think of Florida, something freezing is the last thing that comes to mind. It's time to change all that. The climate is changing everywhere. In June of 2019, the weather dropped below 39 degrees in Florida, an extremely unusual weather pattern for the state. Statewide, frozen iguanas were falling out of trees like leaves, frozen stiff but alive. Because they're cold-blooded animals, they can survive the freeze but are unable to move when it happens. When the temperature finally warmed up, the iguanas, in almost parade-like fashion, scattered about the state in a great race to safety. As funny as that event is, it's foreshadowing something to much more sinister: climate change. Apparently, this was a wake-up sign for some people to make $1 or $2 off the rare occurrence. Iguana meat popped up online selling for $1 a piece. Now, to be fair, the areas that were affected by the sudden freeze were covered in the creatures, from small 3-inch ones to some that stretched 3 feet long. The state of Florida was forced to release a warning to cease and desist the pop-up market that was coming up online. That didn't stop it one bit, but in Florida, the iguana has been dubbed the chicken of the trees. Yum. Number 11. Felix Baumgartner's freefall. Ever hear of the Red Bull Stratus jump? No? Well, you're in for something incredible. Felix Baumgartner, the legendary base jumper, wanted to take his extreme sport to the next level, a higher extreme, so to speak. Well, Felix, you did a dang good job at raising the bar. There's little that can be said about the incredible height Felix Baumgartner skydived from. Just look at the footage of him. Not only did he break the record for highest altitude jump, 128,000 feet into the air, he also broke the speed record, surpassing the speed of sound and being named the first human to break it. Those are some incredible titles to have listed beside your name. I've been skydiving before, never enough times to get my solo certification, but enough to understand the principles of the sport. With just a typical jump, the speed is enough to cause severe windburn, were you to ignore the proper attire. You can imagine that jumping from heights near the edge of Earth's atmosphere would require a special suit. A space jumping suit. I coined that, that's mine. There's no way in heck I'd jump from that height, even when the adrenaline junkie in me is screaming for thrills. That's way out of my league, Mr. Baumgartner, but you can keep at it. Number 10. The Chelyabinsk meteor. Meteors enter the Earth's atmosphere often, so often that we don't even know it, but most of them burn in a fireball before they even reach the surface of our planet, or become so small it's hardly noticeable. As common as they are, they still remain almost mystical in the eyes of many. In 2013, that idea was put to rest in Russia as an unexpected meteor shone brightly across the Russian sky. A few miles away from its impact point, windows and breakables were blown out by the mighty roar of the passing meteor. In some locations, people hid under desks and took cover, scared of earthquake or attack. The meteor exploded with such force that scientists measured the blast to be around 500 kilotons of TNT. That's like someone detonating a bomb off right above your home. Roofs collapsed, windows shattered, and some people even had retinal injuries. At one point during its descent, it burned 30 times brighter than the sun. At this point in time, drivers and civilians had their eyes glued to the fireball heading in their direction. By then, it was already too late. Over 300 cases of retinal injury were reported within the first 3 hours. That's a lot of people trying to see the eye doctor at one time. This did teach the world a valuable lesson. If there is something glowing big and bright in the sky, look away. It only takes an instant for a flash to burn so bright that it can burn the eyeballs right from your head. Number 9. Spider Rain, Australia. I loved you so much, Australia. Why did you have to go and add raining freaking spiders? I mean, if that isn't straight from a nightmare, I don't know what is. Even if you like spiders, having them fall on you by the hundreds is a massive nope in my book. But this isn't the work of some powerful storm. This is the handy skills of the spider itself. But spiders can't fly, right? Wrong. At least in the traditional sense. With some species of spider, they can utilize a method called ballooning. Like the poles of our world, there's a polarizing magnetic field from the Earth's surface and the sky above. Some spiders can detect that electric magnetism and charge its silk with the opposite polarization for attraction. It then shoots its silk out into the air, and the natural attraction of magnetic fields take over in one of the most unique methods of flight on Earth. As impressive as this sounds, it's great with one of two spiders. Throw in a couple of hundred or thousand, and we're talking some major arachnophobia here. While most of these occurrences are short-ranged flights, they have been known to drift for thousands of miles on the air before deciding to drop anchor. Number 8. The Fan Man Parachute Guy. Boxing is a popular sport with many things you can expect to rain on you, sweat, blood, tears. There's just no way to prepare yourself for this one. During the Bo Holyfield fight of the 90s, a superfan decided to hover over the top of the packed stadium crowd and get an on-the-ring seat. Surprisingly enough, he made it all the way to the ring before security could do anything about the flying man with a fan strapped to his back. I'm not sure what his goal was in the end, as I'm sure the two professional boxers would have handled the man with relative ease. But hey now, we get to observe and laugh about the silliness of it all some 30 years later. His motivations were later revealed to be accidental, but the fire had been stroked. The parachutist would be found repeating the stunt at a Raiders and Broncos game and on top of Buckingham Palace, where he saw fit to remove his pants and flash all of the UK. accidental still? Turns out that the parachutist was suffering from many medical conditions, and in 2002, the famed parachutist was found dead by suicide. Though his true motives were never discovered, his brother was quoted saying, after his diagnosis and the mounting medical bills, he became fed up with the insanity of society. It was in display of mockery of our rules. Number 7. Insane hail, Melbourne. Hail can be found worldwide in any climate. Live in a desert? Doesn't matter. You'll see hail. The size and intensity of the hail, on the other hand, can differ. Take the hail in Melbourne, Australia, for instance, where it often reaches massive sizes. Golf ball-sized hail, as you can imagine, can be extremely dangerous, from destroying buildings, windows, to severe human injury. A storm with hail this size can be overwhelming and leave you feeling powerless. There's nowhere to hide, which is the most terrifying part. Just take a look at the footage of a supermarket roof collapsing from the constant berating of hail. That's incredible destruction, with nothing being able to stand a chance. Even tree branches are ripped from their trunks. With winds reaching 70 miles an hour, the hail proved deadly. Get caught out in a storm like this, it'd be like getting pelted with 70-mile-per-hour golf balls, except for constantly and from all directions. People were literally beaten to death. During the wild storm, emergency services received over 1,500 calls for help in 12 hours. Where there's massive destruction, there is also life. The extreme rains have also helped subdue some of the raging Australian fires. Number 6. Tiangong-1 Satellite, China. Space junk is bound to be an issue of the future, from the thousands of satellites that already orbit our Earth to the eventual location of human trash once landfills are at capacity. It's already happening. Just a few years ago, the Tiangong satellite malfunctioned and was sent hurtling towards Earth. For a week, people lived in fear as they waited for the satellite to come crashing on top of them. Even if the odds of that happening are slim to none, I mean, seriously, the chance of getting hit by a single piece of space debris is 1 million times smaller than winning the Powerball. Yet some people still win the Powerball. 1 or 2 pieces of space junk isn't really a concern. It's when it hits the thousands that we should be worried. It's important to be proactive today. There's already world talk of building a space dump where trash can be hurled out into space. Let's just hope someone doesn't hurl it on back. Number 5. Roswell, New Mexico. The infamous Roswell, New Mexico incident is still center of the ET conspiracy world. I'm sure you've heard of it in some way or form through the grapevine, but what really happened there? We still have no idea, save for a few facts. A local farmer was the first to respond to the crash, as it was his land. Soon after, government officials arrived to whisk away the vehicle, informing the farmer it's a weather balloon. They used their red flashy device and were off. Okay, that last bit is just from Men in Black, but I couldn't resist. The government did expeditiously remove the vehicle. What was odd is why they felt compelled to transport it to other U.S. military installations in Texas. What, they needed confirmation that it was indeed a weather balloon? Seems fishy to me. To this day, the city now thrives off the premise of aliens. Restaurants, hotels, everything is themed around their ET heritage. It's still classified as a secret base, so little is known what's going on beneath the desert ground. It just seems odd that they've yet to release any more information about the incident, save for the weather balloon theory. It's been a subject of debate for many years. I don't think we're anywhere near that conclusion. Just remember that conspiracy is now being used as counterintelligence via the internet. They can hide in plain sight, so to speak. Number 4. Boiled bats, Australia. If you haven't heard, there are some pretty hot days in Australia, with summer heats sometimes rising up to 117 degrees Fahrenheit. That's lethal to many creatures, including the massive infestation of bats Australia has been dealing with. Just a short time ago, black clouds of bats that could blot out the sun could be seen swarming over Australian cities. They were so numerous that they were uprooting trees and breaking large branches by the sheer number of them. It seems Mother Nature is trying to balance herself out. Almost as suddenly as they arrived, the Australian heat wave is frying the bats alive. There they are, hanging upside down in residential areas of Australia. As the heat picks up through the day, the bats literally boil themselves and then rain down below. Bodies of bats were everywhere. Even if you like bats, you can't deny the many diseases that they carry. A bunch of dead bats carrying viruses don't bode well for residents of these Australian neighborhoods. Bats are dying by the hundreds of thousands in the extreme heat. The fires there aren't helping things either. Number 3. The dead bird mystery, Liverpool. A dense flock of birds in Liverpool mysteriously dropped from the sky without any explanation. Not one or two, but the entire flock, easily numbered into the 300s. There is still no explanation to date. What could have caused such mass extinction? Scientists have tested the air in the area to no avail. Even if they found a cloud of death, it would have killed all the humans in the nearby area as well, and it didn't affect them in the least. It's also speculated that the entire flock could have been grazing a field that held poisonous berries. Is this truly a sign of the apocalypse? Investigators claim to be keeping an open mind on the situation. I don't know about you, but that sounds like they know something more than they're letting on. Well, whatever it is, I just hope it never returns. Number 2. Raining earthworms, United States of America. Who doesn't want to be rained on by slippery, slimy worms? Worms are usually found slithering and reproducing in the moist earth. If you like your worms airborne, head down to Louisiana. You can get the wildlife delivered to you. Louisiana has had its fair share of raining creatures, from earthworms to frogs and snakes. Could you imagine having a snake rain down on you? Like the biggest snow on the planet. To be fair, this can happen in any wet, water sprout-prone area. Louisiana just might be the most terrifying in the United States with its insane diversity of creatures. In a recent study about deaths by wildlife in the United States, Louisiana was in the top 3 states in the country. The sad fact of the matter is that the study was conducted because of the increased aggressiveness of wildlife towards humans, and also the increased rate of human deaths. This is a troubling sign pointing towards wild necessity. Where there was never a need to bother the human species, now we're starting to look like a nice juicy steak. Number 1. Seafood rain, China. In the Chinese city of Beis, street food has been redefined. In recent major flooding in their town after the waters finally receded, the streets remained a flowing river, giving host to hundreds of different aquatic life trapped from the flood. You won't take the silver lining out of their book. Instead of living in the nightmare that a flood can be, they're in the streets, catching fish with nets and lures. Then they're served up for dinner. It's a beautiful demonstration of human resilience and spirit. Fish you can eat wasn't the only life turning up though. Aquatic creatures from snakes, fish, prawns, starfish, and even octopus made their way through on shore. The storm winds reached record levels, as well as the poundage of seafood rain left in the aftermath. Could you imagine the cleanup job after this? Sheesh! Our planet sure likes to keep us guessing, wouldn't you say? From creatures that greet us at our door, but belong in the sea, to the mysterious extinction of entire flocks of birds, dead in an instant. We sure do have much to learn and gain from the exploration of these bizarre occurrences. At least it should teach us to stay on our toes. Right when we think to be getting a hold of the world we live in, it likes to throw in a wrench. When there is a hardship, often greatness is born.